Thank you for tuning into the Natty News Daily podcast. This episode is brought to you in part by our sponsor, Core Nutritionals. You can check out corenutritionals.com for all your supplement needs and use code Natty News Daily at checkout to save 20%. Enjoy the episode.
What's going on, people? Welcome to another episode of the Natty News Daily podcast. We've got an interesting one that kind of just hopped up in the last week or two and jumped out of the blue. But you know what? When opportunity knocks, we're going to answer. So we've got Shaun Fury and his jacked training partner in the background there. Welcome to the podcast, boys.
And he goes by Valley Muscle, Valley with two Y's, Muscle.
Nice to meet you guys, man.
Yeah, and honestly, thank you guys for having us on here. I know that it's a very unique episode since I've watched a couple of your episodes, and you typically have actual bodybuilders who have already stepped on stage, probably have their pro card, have some titles to their names at this point. And this is a bit the opposite of that, since myself and my training partner, we're actually gearing up to step on stage for the first time in June. So like I said, we really appreciate you taking the time to speak with us.
Hey, we got to you first. Let's just stamp that right now.
Yeah, there you go.
All right, man. So let's just give you the floor a little bit, because you're working on something pretty cool. And obviously, with you not competing before, a lot of the viewers, unless they're within your circle, they might not know about you and kind of what you're trying to do. So I'm just going to give you the floor, man, and kind of just lay out the map of what the game plan for you is heading into that first show.
Absolutely. So similar to an episode that I'd watched a couple weeks ago, my intention is to elevate the status of the natural bodybuilding circuit. If I can get it to the same level as its enhanced counterpart, then that would be the goal. I want stars at the same level of Chris Bumstead and Derek Lunsford to exist in the natural bodybuilding circuit. And in order for me to do that, I'm producing a documentary. The way that I'm pitching it to people out in the world is it's the rise of natural bodybuilding. And the documentary follows myself and my training partner, Valley Muscle's ascension to the top ranks of natural bodybuilding. And through that documentary, we actually get to get a nice inside peek as to what's required in order to become a natural bodybuilder. And we actually do a little campaign across social media and other platforms to actually blow natural bodybuilding up to the level that I think it really should be.
That's cool. Yeah. I mean, this is something we've talked about at length in episodes we've done, just the three of us and with other, individuals in the industry, is just the coverage for the natural side of the sport. And to be honest, that's kind of how this whole Natty News Daily shtick started, was we just wanted to kind of give back and give athletes a platform to, to just grow and hopefully bring more, eyes onto the sport. Right. And, with social media and stuff like that, we're now running, over 20,000 followers. We got the podcast going every single week. Like, we're over, 170 episodes now. Like, we really are passionate about that. So to have, kind of you on board with that is obviously pretty damn cool.
Yeah.
So
and
you have sorry,
mm-hmm.
Go ahead. You go.
Oh, I was just going to say, based off of we're fresh into this project. 2024 is really when we got started. We started filming a little bit towards the end of December. But I would say that the momentum that we've already garnered, for instance, in the past 2 weeks, my Instagram following was at 1,200, and then it shot up to 47,000 within the past 2 weeks, just from this message, just from this story that we're looking to tell across first the country, and then initially it would be a global narrative. So I know that the market is there. And the reason I sought you guys out, it was I already had an idea, like, okay, we need a natural bodybuilding podcast, and you guys existed to fill that void. I sought you guys out to kind of brainstorm, come up with a game plan as to, I have a strategy in mind as to how I want to execute it, but I would love to pick your brains to see where you guys are thinking.
That's cool. What do you?
What I love about this, if I can interject, is this is, like Leroy said, this is something we've talked about for forever, since we've been in the sport, and our mentors in the sport have talked about it, but we're all very much ingrained within the sport already. So our ideas are kind of like an echo chamber at this point. We know what we want and we can't get there. So to have like a fresh voice a fresh set of eyes. I'm interested to hear what you guys have to say. And the fact that you grew a social media following that big, that quickly is, like you said, a testament, right? That there is interest in it if the right leadership is in place or the right figurehead. And I'll speak for myself. I'm awful at social media, right? So you've figured it out apparently already in that short period of time. I am so bad at it. So to have someone that can like actually reach the masses is, I think, going to be critical for your mission.
Yeah, I agree. And I know that 47,000 followers in like the first 2 weeks, that's small compared to the global impact that I'm looking to change. And I'm a very ambitious individual, and I want natural bodybuilding to be right next to enhanced, if I have anything to say about it.
So what did you I guess do to hit that, like that 47 right off the back? Like, what was that method to your madness?
Nice viral video. So myself, we've been filming our training at the it's a fitness influencer gym to start off with. It's called Zoo Culture over here in Los Angeles. Great gym, changed my life. I've only been training there for 7 weeks. That's how I actually met this gentleman on Instagram. Saw where he was training, reached out to him, asked him to do an interview on Instagram. He was extremely receptive and warm, and basically invited me in with open arms. And ever since then, it's just hitting the ground running. So essentially, we've been filming I set up a little camera, tripod, filming the training. And the viral video that occurred was a 17-year-old kid walked up to me and asked me if I was Shaun Fury. Mind you, I only had 1,000 followers at this time, and somehow he was one of them. So he's like, "Are you Shaun Fury?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm Shaun, and this is great. This is the first time I've ever met a follower in real life." And that interaction was so genuine and authentic that it really took off. It's at 2 million views on Instagram right now, which honestly, when you consider 2 million views, but I got 47 followers, 40, there's still more potential for for like people to like really stick with it. But we've got a lot of great reception. We've got fitness influencers reaching out to us. Tristan Lee, for example, Shizzy Lifts. Radio show hosts have gotten wind of this story, and they've reached out to me saying that like I'm on their radar now, which is all fantastic because, again, and I haven't clarified this, this is intended to be a 3-year project so far as documenting our process from never stepping on stage, and the first time we do that is in June, all the way up to us getting our pro cards. And I intend for that to be like a 3-year project. In the course of that 3 years, the amount of possibility for promotion, not only of our story, but of natural bodybuilding as well, it's really potent.
Yeah, that's sweet. So do you have like a crew, or are you doing this all yourself?
It's myself. Yeah.
I pretty much brought him into a world of where I've been creating a crew, man. I've been into this fitness world since 2000, February 2020 is when I got my membership at Crunch Fitness, and I went through a divorce for a couple years that kind of like kickstarted this whole fitness influencer thing for me. I was already into weights, background with college and stuff like that, playing football, but the fitness industry has opened my mind in ways that I've never been able to do for myself. When I first got into the game, felt like I everything I wanted to do was trying to get to. I wanted to do it for myself, and I didn't want nobody to ever say they helped me do this or do that. And that was a cool way of thinking for a short period of time, but it wasn't the right way to think, because in any reality of the world, I feel like the only way to grow is having a great fucking team. You know what I'm saying? Because what I'm not able to get, that next person can get. And if we're a team, shit, he gets there, shit, he just pulls it, he just lowers the ladder down and pull the next person up. And it's just a trickle down system. Yeah. So it's like, when he reached out to me, the same way he probably reached out to you guys about the interview, you know, he reached out to me with like, "Hey man, I see your page, bro, you're pretty dope, blah, blah, blah." And he was just like, it reminded me of myself, like what I was doing when I first got to this level of trying to figure out what I was trying to do with this fitness game. And some people, you know, rubbed me the wrong way in terms of they would read my messages and wouldn't reply, or some people would read the message and reply and, "Hey man, you're already on it. You asking all the right questions, but you already got it, man. Just stay consistent, do this, do that." And I'm just like, I'm soaking it up. And so when he reached out to me, it was like, I can return the favor and full circle this, or I can do what people did to me. And I just did what I was pretty much supposed to do in a sense. And I've already been building a team. I have a friend, her name is Bianca, my dog, her husband, E-Vibes, my friend Jay, my little bro Brandon, my friend Alexis, Danny. It's like we have a group of like 7 people. We have 3 or 4 cameramen. Everybody's into the fitness world as much as we are, but we're just the only 2 that is taking it to the next level, trying to be bodybuilders. But everybody that we're around are content creators in the fitness world. But I just brought him into a world where, like I tell him, and this is me, I'm always for whoever I mesh with. You know what I'm saying? If I don't care if we only know each other for 7, 8 weeks, our drives and our passion and everything aligned the right way. So it was only right for me to continue to push further into what we can establish together.
Yep.
But I don't know how to explain it, bro. Like when I first met him, like it just sat well with me because I see where his vision was at. And it was like I told him just a couple days ago, it's like when we first met, I didn't necessarily know where this friendship was going to go, because it was like we were both, new to knowing each other. But I knew that I liked what he had in him about himself. And that's something that I always, I looked at. And it wasn't until one time we were at this gym and one of our other friends just asked him like, hey, bro, so what is the like whole purpose of this project? And his answer was what really stuck. Like I was already fucking with him and like that, but he didn't really sell me on getting on stage to do this show. I've been doing this for 4 years. I've had two coaches that I've dropped out after a month and a half of working with them, because I can just see that they were driven off of trying to use me to get themselves to a next level. And everything that I've been doing in this fitness world has been genuine. I don't want to feel anything that's forced. So I backed off. So when he was doing it, I was gradually progressing into like, yeah, I can see me doing it. I can do this. But when he answered the question, it was like, yeah, I'm trying to be, and this is how I took it. I'm going to just rephrase what he said in a sense, but it was like, he's trying to innovate the game of natural bodybuilding the same way, say, Michael Jordan did for basketball. If me and this man can actually put a spotlight, I don't give a fuck if it's a small spotlight that they don't even have right now on natural bodybuilding, we just did something that nobody else in the world was able to do. So that right there just puts us at the top. So when he said that, in a sense, I'm like, oh, it clicked. Like, okay, now I'm dialed in. I was already fucking with you, but I was fucking with him, trying to figure out what the real message was. And when he said it that day, it just clicked. I'm like, okay, I got it. So now it's like everything is just starting to fall into circle. Like I remember when I first got into it, it took me so long to get where I'm at. It took me so long to get where I'm at. I started, like I said, February 20th, 2020 is when I started doing this. And just last year is when all the sponsorships started coming in. I'm a raw gear athlete. I was at Zoo Culture since April 14th. I got signed by them in October, literally the day before the 14th. So it's like everything just started to click. And it was all because I placed myself in the right environment. So I'm big on what you surround yourself with, that's what you become. So I surrounded myself with some of the best in this game, and it just transcended me to the top. And I feel like that's how he came across my page. And like I tell him, I'm grateful to have met him, because I'm able to do something for him that nobody was able to do for me. Like the 12,000 followers that he had, that 40K, that was all him. But he would have never been able to do that had he not met me.
Yep.
But like our team, the way we think and the way we communicate and stuff like that, it's like it's on another level. Like people in the gym that we talk to, like, oh, we've known this dude for 8 weeks. They're like, they look at us crazy. Yeah. Because they're like, that doesn't make sense. Like, you guys only know each other for 8 weeks. How is that possible? It's because, like, another thing that I had said a couple weeks ago, 2 days ago, is like when two archaeologists, pretty much the dudes that built these buildings in downtown. What is it? Architects. When they building all these buildings downtown, this guy has a blueprint over here on what he thinks the building should look like. This guy over here has a building of what it should look like. And it was like, we both had these blueprints, but I was missing something. And he said the perfect word. It was like an overlay of blueprints. We just overlaid those thoughts together, and it was like, hold up, that shit matches. Like, how? So it was like everything just just I don't know how to explain it, bro.
Yeah.
Everything is so natural the way we met and everything that's came after it,
It's very organic.
That's
And
sweet.
Mhm.
Yeah.
yeah.
That's super cool. So let's talk about shows, goals. You
Yeah.
mentioned a 3-year plan.
Yep.
Let's start from the top. June.
Okay. So we're targeting NPC and IFBB. And the reason that we're doing that is because there's more of an association. We're looking to become the faces of natural bodybuilding in the same way that Chris Bumstead is the current face of bodybuilding in general. And the reason that we chose NPC and IFBB is because that's where Chris Bumstead is. So that way, when we get our IFBB pro cards, there's already that association between Shaun Fury, Valley Muscle, they're in the natural bodybuilding circuit, Chris Bumstead, Derek Lunsford, they're in the enhanced. Yeah. Understanding that WNBF and OCB are greater, I suppose, so far as they're more established in the natural bodybuilding circuits. I feel that we can grow with IFBB in the natural bodybuilding circuit and kind of work together in order to elevate it.
What is your? So I'm gonna play old grizzled veteran.
Yeah.
What is your like familiarity with competitive? Like, so you've never competed before. You have a 3-year plan to become the face of the sport.
Mhm.
You've never competed before. I'm gonna win this show. I'm gonna turn pro. This, that, and the other. You've never been on stage.
Yep.
Can you, I guess, enlighten me to like that mindset and knowing? Again, we are in natural bodybuilding. Like we're in it, and
Oh,
we
yeah.
know what's out there.
Yeah.
And some guys that are a decade in the sport have never won an overall, much less turned pro.
Right.
And you've got you guys coming in saying like, I'm going to be the face and I'm going to be the Chris
Yes.
Bumstead and win my FBB pro
Yep.
card, this, that, and the other. Can you just kind of enlighten me to that mindset?
Yeah. All right. It seems like Valley has some things to say, so I'm gonna speak first. I feel personally that it matters less of actually winning overalls and more so people are interested in the journey. People are interested in the narrative. So if I announce that within the next couple of years, I'm going to become the face of natural bodybuilding, all of a sudden the person becomes interested. The audience is tuning into, all right, first off, what is natural bodybuilding? And who is this person saying he's going to become the face of it? Do I have the potential of actually winning every single competition I ever step on? Do I have the genetics for it? Yes, I do. But again, I know that it's a subjective sport. I'm going to do everything within my power to, beat Kendall Richmond, and all of these other natural bodybuilders. Don't get me wrong. I know that the competition is stiff, but again, it's the story that I'm more prioritizing over whether or not I win or lose. That matters less to me. And Valley, you definitely have something to say.
Well, me, like it's really not about the winning or losing, but I'm have a winner's mindset. So
Right.
I come into anything that I've ever wanted in my life. Like if I'm gonna go for it, I'm gonna think that I'm the best at it. Like
For sure.
He tries to get me to, oh, you look at this natural bodybuilder. You want me to send you a list of the natural? I'm like, for what? I don't need to see them. The only motherfucker that I'm competing with is me or you. If anything, I don't give a fuck to see none of those guys because when I see them on stage, it's still gonna be me. Right. At the end of the day. And like he said, I don't have a chance. I have a chance to win every show, but is it likely? No. But getting on stage with that confidence like I am going to win it, yes, that's the difference.
And if there's anything I can add to that, I see what we're doing so far as the narrative that we're telling and the documentary that we're filming. There's an opportunity to kind of do exactly what, let's say, influencers have done for boxing. Take Logan Paul and his brother, Jake Paul. They were able to garner more attention to the world of boxing just because they already have that celebrity and now they're doing a sport and okay, the sport and the celebrity, boom. We're doing the same thing with natural bodybuilding. The only difference is they don't have the status for one. And for two, we actually can compete against these top athletes. And honestly, that doesn't do anything but elevate the sport just from there.
Yep.
Yeah. Sure. This reminds me a little bit. Obviously, you guys, I think, are trying to go beyond the level of what this individual was. But Dan's familiar with Retro Lord Silas, our friend. He creates a character for every prep he does, and this kind of like reminds me of that, right? You're creating that character. You're genuine about it, where
Yeah.
you're causing controversy, right? Like by saying like, I'm going to go in and I'm going to win and I'm going to do this. And it's like, some people are not going to like that, but you're
Right.
okay with that.
Right. Yeah.
Well, and you're right, because
I am Bishop Mark Barchuk of the
it's funny
Diocese
because
of
like the whole Valley Muscle name, I went to him a couple weeks ago. I said, bro, I'm just Deontay living in Valley Muscle's world. Like when I step into these gyms, motherfuckers don't even know me by my real name. I'm really living this character's life. Like that's it. When I go home, I'm back to being me.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I definitely get that.
Yeah. And I'm attacking this as a film producer. My actual passion is to be a movie maker, a filmmaker in Hollywood. After this documentary is finished, I'm going to be pitching a television series following the lives of Shaun Fury and Valley Muscle as we continue taking over the fitness industry at this point. So that's where I'm coming from. I'm looking for the long-term goal, which is scripted content, telling the story of changing the fitness industry from within. So again, it doesn't really matter how we like actually perform on stage, as long as we're giving it everything that we can. And whoever does end up beating us, well, they get a spotlight too. If you think about it, that provided someone does beat us. So
It's very WWE-esque, where you have where you have this, you have this character, right? He's chasing the title. I'm going to beat everybody. I'm going to win this. I'm going to do that and the other. And you get invested in following the rise, either following the good guy chasing or following the asshole wanting to see him get beat.
Exactly.
Either way, people watch.
Yep. Personality.
So I will be very interested to see where you go as a character, because people love to hate someone.
Yeah. No,
people love to either see you get smashed, or they love to be proven wrong and be like, fuck, he did it.
Yeah.
God damn it.
And I was a bit like a little disappointed that my video went viral, a little bit. And I'll tell you why. I had this idea of being a larger than life, kind of cocky, kind of arrogant character for my bodybuilding persona, because I'm right there with you. I was already thinking WWE when I came out with the documentary idea. But when the video went viral and all the comments and all the feedback is, my God,
nobody does this. You're so wholesome.
You're so wholesome. The word that got used most often is wholesome. I was like, man, I gotta run with this now.
you John Cena yourself.
It doesn't have to, because that works. We're a duo.
Yeah.
So that's really who he is. In a sense, I'm the same way, but people would think that I'm more of an asshole.
Man, you got to lean into that. You got to get behind. You got to get behind the scenes shots of being like, he's doing pull-ups, and you're like, fuck him.
See, and it's funny because even with shit like that, like we were doing a video, bro, at my house. And I'm on my phone, bro. And me and him have tremendous amount of respect and love for each other, bro. I'm on my phone. We're watching some, old school Arnold Schwarzenegger stuff about him bodybuilding. We're just studying. He has the camera going. He's telling me about how much of a friend I've been to him, how I've changed his life in a sense. And I'm like, I'm dialed in listening, but I'm like just on my phone researching some other stuff that we're about to like watch and shit. He posts that video, right? Everybody in the comments like, man, you could have at least looked up and listened to him, like blah, blah, blah. And it's like, they don't fucking know us. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, I don't give a fuck what they think or but it was a controversy. And I'm telling bro, let them think that. That's what we can sell. So it was like another video where I'm in the gym and he's talking about what's natural and what's not natural. He's talking about what he's like, to me, and it says, I don't take this, I don't take that, blah, 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 but I only take creatine. And like my whole face in the video, the whole time I'm just looking at him like, and the cameraman pans back to me and he pans back to Shaun. He's like, yeah, I guess Valley don't take creatine or whatever. And I pan back to me and the cameraman was like, yeah, he must only eat eggs, raw eggs on bread or something like that. And I'm just like, I take creatine, like, but just so like nonchalant, like, and he pans back to Shaun and Shaun just like, but it's like that type of shit, it sells because we don't have the same personality. We're definitely hot and cold, but it works. So we don't, as long as we can sell the controversy within each other, that's all we need.
Yeah, the narrative definitely works, and it's definitely picking up steam. And just in general, I think that the market is really ripe for this story and for natural bodybuilding to be elevated. We were at the Fit Expo, the Los Angeles Fit Expo this past weekend, and we were going around. We had our camera and we were interviewing bodybuilders and other fitness enthusiasts as to what do you think of the project? Who's the top bodybuilder in the world? Who's the top natural bodybuilder in the world? And there were certain individuals who were saying, honestly, I wish that natural bodybuilding was at a higher level. That way I would have not taken steroids. I would have thought there was a different avenue for my career to take place. And like, that's really why I want this to, why it's as important to me as it is.
I think that's a really important path to pave, is to show people that, that's not the only route you can go.
Yeah.
You can
Yeah.
do this drug free and achieve crazy things, right?
And the reason that people don't know that can happen is because there is no face. There's no faces.
Not even the face. It's just no promotion of natural. There's promotion of only enhanced steroids. That's why if you don't want to do steroids, well, shit, let's go get on SARMs. It's easier. You don't have to stick yourself with a needle. So it's like motherfuckers have made every other avenue of trying to help people get enhanced instead of just preaching, hey, if you just spent a little bit more time in the gym, you would get all that shit that you're looking for. Is you might not come like that. Like even with that enhanced shit, it doesn't just come like that. It takes work. So what is the point of putting that shit in your body if you still got to work? That's what I don't get. It's like, it's an oxymoron. You don't want to work as hard as the people that are natural because it's going to take longer. But when you put the enhancements in your body, you still have to work.
Yeah.
That just doesn't make sense.
Yeah. Yeah. And again, I think people at this point have been kind of conditioned to believe that you can achieve a really great physique naturally. And that's what we're looking to change that perception.
Even like bodybuilding as a whole, like people say bodybuilding and then they say natural bodybuilding. Like it should almost be the other way around, where there's bodybuilding, then there's enhanced bodybuilding, right? Like we're even conditioned to say like natural bodybuilding is separate from like actual bodybuilding, which is kind of weird because it's like the pure form, but whatever.
It's funny as hell.
The naysayers, they'll in the comments, because I've been promoting this for some months now. The naysayers is like, okay, natural bodybuilding can never get to the same level of enhanced. It's like NBA versus WNBA. And that's the narrative that we have to change. And it's a public perception. Most people don't even know that natural bodybuilding even exists.
I just came up with a video idea right now. We should have Eric dress up as like Kobe Bryant or Jordan, Larry Bird, and we should dress up as WNBA players.
I don't know. But we'll workshop that. But it's going in a good direction. And I actually had a question for you guys. So with this documentary, I kind of have it broken down into 3 different parts. First, we have the ascension of the characters, Shaun Fury and Valleyy Muscle, as we climb the ranks of natural bodybuilding. That's one segment of the documentary. The second segment is education, making people being able to understand that there is a distinction between bodybuilding enhanced and natural bodybuilding. And then the third prong is actually an actual campaign to elevate natural bodybuilding, which is what we're doing on social media through a narrative and things of that nature. But that's going to, however we get from point A to point B of natural bodybuilding being at that same level, that's what I would be capturing in the documentary. What I wanted to ask you guys is there anything that you would like to see in such a documentary about the rise of natural bodybuilding?
Good question.
That's a loaded question.
I'll go first.
Yeah, it is.
I think one of the things that I love about natural bodybuilding that is not talked about is your ability to still live a normal life, but that people aren't as excited by it. So, for example, James is a father of 2. He's a husband. He runs a physio clinic. He runs a coaching business. He's just a guy who also bodybuilds. I am a married man myself. I have a little one on the way. Very passionate about competitive bodybuilding, full-time coach, but I'm just a dude. Dan, same vein as all of us, right? He's a guy that loves bodybuilding, but he's still just a dude. And I think that like with the enhanced side of the sport, people are just drawn to the extremes of it. But I think people get lost in like the beauty of like what we get out of natural bodybuilding from like an intrinsic perspective. You know what I mean? So like, I don't know about your guys' personal lives, but I think showing the gym and the diet and stuff is cool, but like show you being normal, because I think that people relate to, right?
Mm.
Like people relate to, if you're a husband and you have some kids and you get up at 4 a.m. to train because that's the only time you can do it. And then, 7 o'clock rolls around and the little one run downstairs. Like those are what I think you will get a lot of the general population to start to buy into, because then they see that like, oh, like
That's something that I could do.
Yeah.
like it's not like what we're doing is not extreme in the same vein as enhanced bodybuilding is, because at the end of the day, we train 5 days a week, we eat the same shit, and we sleep.
Right.
That's it. We just do that in different, various forms, whether you're in the off season, you're in contest prep, whatever. But the bulk of it is the same. So I think I'm just giving this point of reference because like I vlogged my entire 2022 prep on YouTube. I did a video every single week. And a lot of the feedback I got when people watched it was like, wow, like I kind of just, you're just a guy that, we see the pictures on Instagram, but the vlogs is like, oh, like, you worked today and then you come home, you packed your lunch pail, you get up at 5 and trained, you went to work. And it was that relatability that then people, like you said, like the characters and stuff like that, people bought into like Leroy the person. Because there's Leroy the bodybuilder, Leroy the person, but at the end of the day, they're the same dude.
Yeah.
Whereas like in the enhanced side of the sport, there's like C-Bum. There's Chris Bumstead too. And now you start to see him when you listen to like the long form podcasts and that kind of stuff. And I think that's why he's got such a following, is because there's Chris and then there's C-Bum.
Right. Ooh.
For you guys and what you guys are doing, I think there's so much power in the character, but I think there's probably even more so power in the person. Because then it's like, Shaun, like, is your real name Shaun?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's his whole name, his real name.
Yeah.
So there's like people like follow like Shaun Fury, rise to the top. But like Shaun the dude went from this to this.
Yeah.
That is when I think you will see people sink their teeth into, and you'll get those messages late at night. They're like, hey man, like I know you're struggling right now because you're in the dog end of prep, but I appreciate that you were there for your brother, or I appreciate that you came home after work and gave your sister or your mother a hug, and you're like, yo, I'm still here for you because I'm still Shaun. That is what, man, you get that draw, game over.
Okay. I love that. Thank you.
Yeah, I like that too.
And I think even the feedback that you said you got in that viral video, just so many people called you wholesome. And I think that says a lot, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. The relatability factor is huge for what we do, right? The big thing, like Nick Walker, right? The mutant. People see that and they're like, that's awesome. And if you're a diehard bodybuilder that wants to go the enhanced route, you might chase after that. But how many people see that and just say, well, that's completely unattainable and I'm not even really interested in that, and like it's just too extreme. So because that extreme is there, they overlook all the shades of gray in between.
There's like a detachment.
You guys being natural athletes that are, normal dudes, family men, you got this crew of like friends that you can show, like it's, I don't want to call it attainable because that almost like devalues you and what you're trying to do and like this big pedestal, but it is in a way more, right? Like people could see you and be like, damn, I want to chase after that. I want to try at least, where they see that far into the spectrum and they say like, there's no point in me even trying because I'm never going to be 300 pounds and 6% body fat. Right. So you fill a gap that there is within the sport of these like fantastic physiques, these great athletes like Kendall, right? You mentioned Kendall, like he's a coach, natural guy, phenomenal genetics, right? But you could see it and be like, you know what? Like maybe if I work hard enough, I could look something like that versus I'm not going to look like Nick Walker ever, regardless of what I do, right? Like it's just too far. So the relatability factor, I think, is huge because you can still put yourself up on this pedestal, but also like reach down to the kid and say like, hey, I am just a normal dude. And if you have questions, please come talk to me because I'll help you, just like, Valley Muscle did for you, right?
Yes.
Man.
Something I want to add, because I actually just listened to it today and it's kind of interesting we're talking about this. So I listened to a podcast with Bumstead, and the interviewer asked, like, why do you think Classic has grown so much? And he said, I think most bodybuilding enthusiasts can appreciate the freaks. We're gonna call them the freaks.
Yeah. They
And
refer to themselves as that.
yeah, and there's a small percentage of that that's like, yeah, I want to look like that. But most of us don't. Like most of us don't see Nick or like Ronnie Coleman and we're like, yeah, we want to look like that. We think it's wild, but I don't want to look like that.
At all.
So Chris was like, I think classic, even though it's still an extreme, and especially at the highest level, like these guys are still 1% of the 1%, let's be honest. But it's still more attainable than the freaks. So if you look at how much classic physique has risen with the guys that have promoted it, right? Your Chris, Ramon, Urs, the guys that are doing what you're doing, right? They're promoting it, they're documenting everything. Classic has grown so fast, in contrast to the extreme.
Right.
Now imagine the eyes that could potentially be drawn to natural bodybuilding in the same vein classic was to the enhanced, because now it's even more realistic and achievable. Again, the cream of the crop are still going to rise. There's still the 1% within the natural side of the sport, but it's even more possible for the general person, for that 17-year-old at the gym to look at you guys on stage and be like, they look crazy. But you know what? Like, that doesn't seem like impossible. Right. And I've followed their journey the last 3 years to almost see the blueprint. I think that's where, the documenting and that kind of stuff can be so.
We're filling in the gray areas to kind of like say what you're saying. We're filling in the gray areas between what I like it.
Yeah. Because you guys are starting from ground zero pretty much to document. I started really like vlogging things, 4 or 5 years into my competitive career. I wish I started like vlogging some stuff when I was like 17, 18, starting to lift a dumbbell, because then I could be like, when the 19-year-old's like, hey man, like, where'd you start? What did you do? Bro, here's a YouTube video from 10 years ago. No way. You didn't even look that good back then. Exactly.
Yes.
You guys can do that for people and be like, I started from, in some way, nothing.
Right.
And 2, 3, 10 years later, and if you promote it like you guys are, and you're doing this like professional documentary that you guys are, obviously you're getting traction on it already with sharing it how you are. I think that transparency and just being like, yo, this is not only is this not impossible, but it's very attainable. You know what I mean? You might not win, right? We talked about that earlier, right? You might not win, but like most people might not win, but everybody can do this, right? Naturally, right? Because arguably 99% of the time it is good for you. It's good for your health, your physical health, your mental health. Like, yeah, the end of prep, it's got its cons, but 99% of the time, everything you're doing is super valuable for every area of your life.
Right. And honestly, I think that's where I see the opportunity going. Whereas when you have, we call it regular bodybuilding, and you make a really great point that bodybuilding should be the natural, and then enhanced bodybuilding should be how it's referred to. But the way that people currently perceive bodybuilding, they think of the freaks of nature, and bodybuilders themselves, they say people want to see the freak show. And if there's anything that I can do so far as this project and this story, it's changing the perception to prioritize. People want to see peak. They want to see what happens when a person really applies themselves to commitment, consistency, hard work, dedication, and really great genetics. I mean, we can't ever ignore the genetics. And if there's a message that I can provide, it's focus on on maximizing your own genetic potential.
Yep, because everybody's potential is different. I might have a better chest, he might have a better back, so it doesn't matter, but everybody has to focus on themselves. I feel like people's eyes get drawn too much off of their own road to focus on everything else that ain't. Focus on what you can control, and then you'll be okay. When you start looking over here with that person eating on his plate, then your stomach's gonna get all hungry because you worried about what he eating and not what you can make for yourself. You know what I'm saying? So it's like it just goes with with that, and I think that we own to something here, man. I've been excited from the get go for sure.
Yep. Yeah, everybody's dealt a different hand, but that doesn't mean people can't play, right?
Amen.
Exactly.
Amen. Amen. Okay, so just to recap, so far as what you would like to see in the project, relatability, kind of slice of life, showing the elements that are existing in our lives outside of the gym. I love that. Anything so far as actually the type of information, educating the population. So a person pops in the film and now they're being educated on the difference between like steroids and enhanced or natural. Anything on that?
Yeah, I think like, I think for you guys trying to like get misinformation like out of there as much as possible, right? Like you guys potentially have access to a lot of smart people, right? Like there's a lot of names like Dr. Mike Israetel. Like if you could like get people like him
That's the plan.
somewhere in conversation
Got it.
where it's like, okay, I'm trying to be the best natural bodybuilder I can be. What does that look like training wise? You know what I mean? Like they put a ton of good content out there as far as like, optimal training.
Mhm.
And if you are, trying to show people like, okay, if I'm trying to do this as best I can, what does that look like? Well, Dr. Mike, if I'm trying to get the biggest quads, what does that look like? Or you find people with nutrition information and that kind of stuff. Like that's the stuff that I think would be pretty valuable, is trying to like get rid of as much bro science as you can.
Okay. I like that.
I think even in like a slightly different like tangent of that, you're talking about elevating the sport. We know the sport has different sanctioning bodies, different federations, right? You guys intend to compete NPC, IFBB, and our viewers know the NPC is actually making a big push into the natural realms as of this year. So great timing, guys. You picked the year right. However, there are, as you mentioned, WMBF, OCB, PNBA. There's numerous other natural federations. I think sitting down and having that discussion for your viewers so that they can decide what is there, where they want to compete, if they do want to compete, is a good thing to do. Because as of right now, if you only document just your journey without the education piece, they only see the NPC and the IFBB. Where again, they're as of now saying we want to get into this natural and we're gonna fund the natural fed or the natural branch and all this. We'll see. Time will tell if they're being genuine about that or not. We're a little jaded, being in the industry as long as we have. But if you truly want to bring eyes, trust nobody. It's all politics. If you truly want to bring eyes to the sport as a whole, you almost need to do this broad encompassing, like here are the top 3 in the US. This is why we chose to compete with this. These are the redeeming qualities here, all that kind of stuff, and let people make their own decisions.
Yeah, you know what you need to do? Because this would be so damn sick. You guys go on like a conquering quest. You say like, okay, these are the shows. I'm going to go Mr. America. I'm going to go OCB Yorton Cup. I'm going to go WMBF Worlds. I'm going to go PNBA Mr. Olympia. I'm going to go IFBB Ben Wieters. Because this is where natural bodybuilding gets muddy, is because there's the best over here, the best over here, the best over here, the best over here. You guys want to tell a story? You say, okay, I'm at the bottom of the mountain.
Beat them all.
And there's 7 peaks. I'm going to climb this one this year. I'm going to climb this one this year. Because not only does that give, because like James said, the IFBB, NPC, like they're trying to dip their toe in the natural stream. What that looks like, we will see. And I think that's the only way we can describe it, is we will see. Because what they're doing currently is still very muddy. And we know that for a fact. So if you guys are truly saying like, okay, we want to raise natural bodybuilding, going to where the audience is great. And I understand that. But you're going to where natural has a lot of asterisks beside it. And you will get a large portion of the truly natural side of the sport say, really, guys? Like, why don't you go where the testing's legit? You seriously want to say you're the best? Go win WMBF Worlds. Go win the Yorton Cup. And that's where I think you can take the best of both worlds, because what you're doing has a lot of good to it. Because no one is doing that for the natural side of the sport. No one's documenting a 3-year journey to WNBF Worlds and saying, like, you know what, I'm going to be the world champ. And not only am I going to do that, but I'm going to win this too. And I'm going to win this too. Because that's where the true purity of natural bodybuilding is as of this time.
Copy.
That may change. And I won't be surprised if it does, because again, there's a lot of rumblings over the next couple of years that things are going to change. But until that point happens, I think you guys are almost doing it a disservice, not saying, okay, I recognize there's a lot out there. I'm coming for it all.
Love it.
Right?
Hey,
Because there's so many different small stories in that, and different audiences. Every federation has their allegiance by a certain group of athletes, a certain audience, whatever.
Right.
So if we're gonna take it over, we gotta take everything.
Yeah.
Put your hand in every pot, because it's only more eyes, and it does the industry within natural bodybuilding a lot of good. Because if you get 100,000 eyes watching you guys go to Worlds, watching you guys go to the Orton Cup, watching you guys fly over to the DFAC World Finals, that does our sport so much good, man. You have no idea.
Copy. Well, yeah, I'm already there with you.
I'm loving it.
Yeah. I'm in complete agreement with everything you're saying.
I love it. I love it. All right, boys, let's close this out.
Yeah. Let me hit you with a final question, and this is
hit us up.
Yeah, this is the question that I'm asking everyone in relation to this project, and you guys are the perfect perfect group of people. Yeah, no. The question is, who's the top natural bodybuilder in the world?
All right. Do you
Earlier all time?
Let's say currently.
Well, so let's just rhyme off the champs, because unfortunately we can't decide just one, because there are governing bodies. But you got Brian DaCosta, WNBF world champ this year, come into Worlds the first time, won the whole thing. You got Magna McRae, OCB. You've got Robert Thompson, who won Mr. America and DFAC.
DFAC. Mm-hmm.
You've got Benjamin, who won the ANBF and 13 other titles this past season. So all I'm saying is, guys, you've got a mighty road ahead of you. And I think if you truly are on this mission, you need to write down all these names on a piece of paper right now and say, somewhere, some way, I want to share this stage. And that's your journey. And then you find out.
Oh,
Thank you.
There's names I missed for the boy. There's a lot more I missed.
Yeah.
I mean, you gotta drop
Meshack.
Meshack's name.
Meshack,
Meshack, the person that beats Meshack beats them all. Let's be real. I haven't seen Meshack be beat yet, you know?
Jack, okay. Well,
not 100% locked in.
That's where we come in.
Meshack.
Are you familiar with this, gentlemen?
We will send you his page.
I want you to go on Instagram right now, because I want to see the live reaction. This might go viral. MESH MESHAK
I think.
Meshack. Meshack
coaching.
Okay.
Well, let me see. Hold on, I'm trying to find this. Let's go.
Meshack Oching. Yes. Okay.
I can't find him. MESHA.
He's like 5'6", 100% muscle.
Yeah, that guy right there.
Yeah.
Find that photo.
Yeah, I've actually seen this guy before. Okay. Yeah, I've seen this guy before. So Meshack is the unbeaten.
So
historically, he may or may not have, but like it's
Bada beat him once, but yeah.
Okay. This is perfect. Yeah, I love it. Meshack.
That's your pinnacle.
Yeah. But but still, like, if you could just see, this is where you guys might be the catalyst to get them all in one room sometime, someplace, because that's the missing link to our sport, man. Is you get all the names plus probably 10 more that we just rhymed off.
Levi, Bada. Yeah.
Levi, Bada, David K. Like, oh my God, dude, we could go on about this for an hour and a half.
No,
You-
and our thinking, and that's why I'm so happy that we had the opportunity to talk to you guys, because you guys are saying stuff that I've been thinking about already. And again, 3-year project, but this is a career. And within the career, I do want to create an opportunity for the greats, the best natural bodybuilders, all to share the same stage, whatever federation that is. If we have to create a new one, it doesn't matter. Like that's what the goal is. So
There you go. There we go.
Yeah.
Beautiful, man.
Let's do
Well,
it.
we appreciate you coming on, dude. If
Yeah.
people want to follow both of you, if they want to follow the journey, the documentary, drop the socials. Where can they find you?
And you can follow me at Valleyy Muscle with 2 Y's. And we definitely have a joint account on YouTube and Instagram called Valley Fury. Same with the Valley 2 Y's and my dog here.
Shaun Fury, Shaun spelled like Shaun Alexander or Shaun White. Shaun White is a more famous Shaun. Shaun Fury. It's one word, Shaun Fury on all socials.
Beauty. All right, people.
Yeah.
Well, you've just
Thanks so
witnessed
much.
the start of something pretty damn cool. I am very happy that we were able to do this, man. And trust me, you've got Natty News Daily along for the ride with you. So whatever we can do to help, if you want.
Sounds like we got to fly out to zoo culture is what we got to do.
Yeah, come on over.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's go.
All right. Well, we'll plan that after the fact.
We'll build some finances first.
All right, people. If you guys enjoyed this episode of the Natty News Daily podcast, obviously you know what to do. Give us a like, show us a love on Instagram _Natty _news_daily, and we'll see you guys in the next one.